Cool. Joe, you and I talked about one, two, three, four, five, six items, and I added one more to it.
Okay.
And one of them is big and takes some time. So I thought that we could go through the fast ones fast.
All right.
Um, and we don't make this stuff up. Okay. These are real questions that we get. And if somebody calls any of us with a question, that means they don't know the answer. And if they don't know the answer, that means maybe you don't know the answer. So I had a call last week.
And
And
sometimes we don't know the answer.
And sometimes we don't know the answer, and sometimes we search different places for the answer. Call last week, showed a house, the backyard, it's got property. There's a tombstone in the backyard.
hmm
And nowhere in the seller's disclosure does it say there's a buried body.
And nowhere
So,
does it ask for that either.
and nowhere does it say, by the way, are there any buried bodies on the property? So the agent says, is the seller supposed to disclose that? And I've got a standard answer to any disclosure question. When in
When
doubt,
in
disclose.
when in doubt.
If it concerns you that there's a dead body buried on your property, then it concerns you. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but you have the right to know, is kind of the idea.
Mhm.
Because we never
Yeah.
want them to say, what, Joe? We talked about this last night.
If I had known,
If I had known this, I would not have done that.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's a leftover Halloween decoration for all we know. But I did Google it. And yes, you are allowed to bury a human body on your property. But there's a ton of rules. It's got to be so deep, and it's got all kinds of stuff. So further away from the property setback lines and away from ponds, and probably not something you want to mess with.
No.
But this is real life real estate, and that is honest to goodness a real question. So it just bears the thought. When in doubt, disclose. Do you have to disclose a suicide in a house? No, you don't.
Mhm.
Should you? Yeah. Somebody could freak out, and if they freak out,
Well, don't want them freaking out 2 days before closing.
no, you don't want to freaking
Right.
out hire an attorney because then you got to defend yourself.
Right.
Even though it's legal, you still lose, so it doesn't work.
Mhm.
Um, Jennifer in Fort Myers shared something with me yesterday that is very concerning. And this time of year, I'm getting lots of emails and things warning me from my banks and stuff saying, hey, fraud is prevalent this season.
Mhm.
Be careful. And this is one I haven't seen before, so I thought I'd share it with you guys today. A consumer says, Joe, you get a text message that says, hey, Joe, my wife and I are moving to Florida from New York. We were searching and found your profile on century21.com. We'd love
Mhm.
to set up a Zoom meeting so we can tell you what we're looking for. And you are an agent and you say, shit, that sounds good. So you reply
Let's do
back,
it.
sure. Yeah. What
Mhm.
time works for you? I'm available at 3. And they write back, super. And this is where it got a little weird. Please send me your, what was the word they used? Your most common email address, and I'll send you a link to my Zoom room. Okay. Therein lies the scam. They send you a link. You click
Mhm.
on that link, and that link gives them access to whatever device you're on, and they
Right.
steal your private data. Okay. So our agent was smart and said, you know what? three
I
o'clock
have
for me. Let me have your email address, and I'll send you to my Zoom room.
right.
All right. So we know that's the case. And she says, well, I don't know you. Well, you found me on century21.com,
Right.
right? You looked me up. I didn't look up you. And if they don't want to do it, and guess what? They didn't keep their 3 o'clock appointment.
No.
They never asked for her Zoom room.
Mm-mm.
So that is a scam that is going to be running around. And, I still get you guys texting me saying, Craig, did you really send this? And you all
Yeah.
know my phone number, 813-245-9244. When it comes from 618-326 and says, Craig wants to know if you're available now, it's not me,
No.
right? And you're getting lots of those. And that just starts an engagement or conversation. At some point, they're going to try to get you to click on a link and they're going to capture your data right before the holidays so they can run up your credit cards or whatever they do.
Yeah. I don't
Great
click
point,
on what's that?
Lauren. I'm sorry, the comments are popping in my face, but
Okay.
Lauren says she looks up the phone number and forewarn.
I do
That's what
too.
Jennifer did too.
I do
That will
too.
tell you a lot. And there
Sometimes
are
you don't want to know everything. So- but yes, it does.
Yeah,
Four
and just so you
words?
guys know, I'm a big gamer. So if I get a text saying, please buy me some game cards, gift cards,
Okay.
that's not me either, because you guys get those about this time of year. All right, so that's one, two. That Zoom scam is real. And just please pay attention, guys.
Yes. I don't
And
click on any link from anybody I don't know.
no, and when in doubt, call.
Hmm.
It's just a bad way to do business. And
Yeah.
Jennifer said that number was associated with a deceased person.
There you go.
So, I mean, why do people do it? They've got some ulterior motive that's not right, but just be diligent. And I
Yeah.
don't want to bombard you with a bunch of emails that say, here's another scam for you. Here's another scam for you. Just be diligent.
And we're really targets because our numbers are out on the web anyway. So
Yes, very much so. And there's crawlers out there that can crawl century21.com and get all of our personal cell phone numbers.
hmm.
And also at this time of year, be extra careful with your parents too, because
Yeah.
they fall prey to these things easier than we do.
Hmm.
So Jessica, Sam, watch out for your mom. Not me, of course, but that was a joke. Okay, third one, fast, real life situation. And this one I'm spending a couple minutes on. We sold a new home in a neighborhood in Palmetto, which is south of Apollo Beach.
Right.
And the builder bought lots that were previously on a golf course. The golf course had some toxic materials stored on site, right?
Hmm.
That's a problem. Okay, so just so you guys have a little common sense, and I'm going to be specific about what not to do, but common sense. When you go to develop property or buy property, you study it. And what they do, especially if there's a bank involved, and when there's not a bank involved, this should be done anyway, you get a phase one environmental study.
Right.
And that's where you hire an engineering firm. They come out, they do a study, and they
Hmm.
say, this property looks like it doesn't have any problems. Pass. Bank says, good, we'll lend money on it. Or the phase one says, uh-oh, there could be something here. You better engage us to do a phase two study.
Right.
And then the phase two study comes out and says, oh, yeah, there's arsenic buried 4 feet down and it needs to be remediated. Here's the
Mhm.
scope of work to remediate it properly. You got to take out 400 yards of dirt. It's going to cost this much money. You got to transport it to some landfill somewhere. Then you got to bring in 400 yards of fresh dirt, and then we'll bless it, and you can go ahead
Mhm.
and build.
Right.
And so that's what happened. But
And there should be an engineering study and everything
a
what they
mitigation
did.
report.
Yes.
Yep. And then a check off that it was done.
Hmm.
So in this case, the buyer, well, the buyer and the builder did. It was in the contract disclosures.
Hmm.
But Joe, how many people read the contract disclosures?
Zoom gods.
Yeah, not many.
No.
So, but it did disclose that there was some toxic stuff on the property and it's been remediated. But the buyer didn't pay attention. First time home buyer, very scared. And this is the one I wanted to bring up from this topic. Our agent went above and beyond and tried to make the buyer feel comfortable to buy. That is not the way to go above and beyond, right?
No.
That is not our problem. That is outside of our scope of business. We don't want to give any coercion to make them do something they feel uncomfortable about.
Hmm.
I talked to the consumer and said, look, I told him what I just told you, phase one, phase two. Boy, I said, if you want to feel more comfortable, call the engineering firm who did the report and talk to them about what they did and if they verified the work was done correctly. And if that makes you feel comfortable, go ahead.
Right.
But our agent went and Googled it and found out all kinds of stuff. And that just sounds bad. Like, hey, the agent just wanted their commission and they didn't care about my family's health. And we don't want to go that way.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the agent's intention in any way, shape, or form. And I don't mean to insinuate that it was, but
And
it
and
could
in
be taken that way.
and in fairness to the buyer, when you're buying new constructions, the hundreds of pages that you're signing and reading are overwhelming, really, when it comes to new construction. So
They are. But that's three real life real estate issues just from this week.
yeah,
And then Joe, you've got a good one coming up here that's going to lead us into the last three.
yeah,
And it was a sale, and we're going to pull up the contract because we're
right.
going to cover paragraph one, subparagraph C, D, and E.
Yes.
So I will share my screen for a quick moment.
Thank you. So while you're doing that, we got a contract on a home. We were the seller, and there were multiple refrigerators, one in the house, one in the garage, and come to find out, the seller moved out and took the refrigerator from the garage.
Not an uncommon occurrence. And
No,
we've talked about this 1,000 times,
yeah,
but the question still comes up.
yeah. And of course, they're like, well, yeah, the refrigerator in the kitchen, but we were taking the refrigerator in the garage. And unfortunately, our contract is very specific. If you go to 1D, unless excluded in paragraph 1E, which is below, the following items which are owned by the seller existing on the property as of the date of the initial offer are included in the purchase. And it says
There's two
range
parts of that. They're owned, not
owned,
leased,
right,
and they exist on the property when the offer was made.
right. So the refrigerator was in the garage when they purchased the house, and it covers range and ranges and oven and ovens and refrigerator and refrigerators and dishwasher and dishwashers and disposal ceiling fans, light fixtures, drapery rods and draperies, blinds, window treatments, smoke detectors, garage door opener and openers, thermostats, doorbells, television wall mounts, and television mounting hardware, security gate, and other access devices, mailbox keys, and storm shutter, storm protection items, and hardware. So,
Are all included in the sale,
right. So that,
unless excluded in paragraph E.
right. So grandma's chandelier in the dining room, if you wanted that excluded, you better have that in 1E because it's attached and it's light fixtures.
Mhm.
So that's got to be excluded. So end of the story, or here we are. The agent called me and I said, "Well, what's the contract say?"
Yeah.
Okay, you and I always say that, right? And
Yep.
we read the contract together, and she's like, "Oh crap." I said, "Yeah, unfortunately, did you exclude it in line E?" No. I said, "Well, then it was included because that's what you signed."
Yeah, the S in parentheses means
Yes,
plural.
correct. More than one.
And this
And
brings up, Joe, 2 or 3 weeks ago, an agent came to me with a similar problem and they wrote in all
yeah,
appliances.
yes.
Okay. That's very vague. See, up here it
Mhm.
says built-in appliances.
Right.
And definition of built-in is hardwired to the building.
Correct. Or mounted on it, or like a microwave is mounted in the kitchen above the stove.
Right. So a fixture.
Right.
Now, we talked about this yesterday. A wine cooler.
Mm-hmm.
There's a wine cooler that sits by itself. It's technically a refrigerator, it's refrigeration equipment.
Yeah.
It's not a fixture because it's plugged into the wall and it can be unplugged and not remove anything. It's not going to leave a hole in the cabinetry. So what do you do in that situation?
Well, just because you just called it a cooler, it's not a refrigerator. So I would definitely, if I were buying, if I had a buyer buying the house, I'd be adding it in as personal items because it's not specifically listed in that list.
Yes, because
Or
it
if
says
I
right
would,
here, other
yep.
personal property items included are
Hmm.
wine refrigerator in kitchen,
Washer and dryer,
washer and dryer, good ones. Pool
uh,
equipment, pool salt chlorinator if it's owned. You
right,
know, some salt pool chlorinators are leased.
least. Hmm. They are. And then also water softener,
Hmm.
okay, can be
Doesn't say
leased
water
or it can
softeners
be
included.
owned. Yeah, they
So
can
you got to
be.
be very diligent here. We're going to help you with this in a second.
Yeah. So that was the story. So we ended up paying to have the refrigerator brought back to the
Yeah.
garage.
And it could have been avoided if we had explained it up front.
And we do need to, at time of contract, when we're going over with the seller, we really do need to talk about this paragraph because it is very specific, and but hopefully the next thing we're going to show you will help you in doing that.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna cheat a little bit and show you
Okay.
something else real quick.
All right.
My inbox should be popping up now.
Yes.
in my sim sales meeting section. Where's my sales meeting? Real satisfied. I just wanted to I went to this last night.
Okay.
You can see this. I have 7,711 messages in my real satisfied folder. And
A
last
lot of
night,
happy customers.
and they are. And the ones that I just went through the first ones, and this one I didn't star because it doesn't have anything pre-printed in it. I have to download it. So I just skipped those.
Mhm.
First one I came across. Jessica Roman is an absolute powerhouse. She's an incredibly knowledgeable professional and truly on fire when it comes to real estate. Every suggestion and recommendation she made was spot on. You can tell she really knows the market and her client's best interest. This is the
Sweet.
reputation we want you to have, and this is how you
Hmm.
get it by
Hmm.
watching and learning from other people. Um, for Rebecca, Melissa's a true professional in selling real estate. She is always right on top of everything and very easy to work with. Would definitely recommend Melissa for all of your real estate needs. Thank you for all your hard work. Sincerely, Mary Tompkins. This is so cool. And they just go
Hmm.
through. Amy Camasso. I highly recommend Amy for anyone seeking a dedicated and knowledgeable real estate professional. She's excellent in conducting property showings, highlighting key features, and addressing all questions with expertise. That's the stuff we're talking about here, guys.
Hmm.
Addressing
Hmm.
things with expertise
Yep.
and not missing stupid little things like plural refrigerators or wine coolers. They take away from that positive review. And
And,
it's something that really shouldn't happen.
we're all human, and our listings are staying on the market longer. And hey, we could have forgot that there was a refrigerator in the garage, or maybe we didn't ask that question from our list. Like, do you have a refrigerator in the garage? Is that staying or is that leaving? That's a paragraph we really need to have that discussion at the time of
Mhm.
listing.
Yes, at time of listing.
Yeah,
And for that point, we're going to
yeah,
jump over to
that was a good segue for you, Craig.
there you go, purpose, on purpose. All right, so in dot loop, you have a listing package created,
Hmm.
and there's a set of required forms.
Correct.
And if you scroll down, there's some other forms that you may want to use.
Hmm.
And this one, Joe and I were talking last night. He goes, "Well, why don't we talk about the seller FAQ?" And I said, "What's that?" And so we found it, and we're going to cover that. Joe, I'll let you kind of cover it here.
Okay,
Am I
yeah,
sharing my screen?
not yet. So we developed this, Ange and I developed this form because I really thought we were lacking in really a standardized way to approach sellers as a team. Like, in other words, everybody should be approaching the seller kind of the same way as things that we're collecting.
Mhm.
So we created this document really to go, really something that you can hand the seller between the time you start listing so they can start filling this out, and it kind of answers every question. And if you guys come up with something that we forgot in this questionnaire, by all means, please let me know, and we'll add it to it. So
Well, let me
again,
add to that too, Joe,
yes.
because it makes the seller think
Hmm.
that their property really is a commodity now. I was thinking about my own home. My home has been totally renovated
Hmm.
in 2015. That was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's not totally renovated anymore.
No.
So I'm thinking my home is beautiful, and it is, but it's not totally renovated to today's standards.
No.
I mean, it's been constantly renovated since, but it's going to make a seller realize, oh shit, I am in a flood zone. Oh, I don't have garage door openers. Oh, whatever these things are. So let's cover.
All right, so the first set is property taxes. We can pull those, so that's not too bad. Survey, do they have it? This is a thing to pull, Mr. Customer, I need a copy of that.
The contract says it does.
Yes. Elevation certificate, do you need that? If you're in a flood zone, I need to have that. All right, that should be with your records. The title company would have given you that if you had gotten a new survey at the time when you bought the house. Who's holding your mortgage? Is there a secondary name? Because we need to help the title company out with that. Access. What do you have keys? I've had
Hey, I helped
customers
an
that
agent
don't have
last
key. They don't
two
have
weeks
keys.
ago. They
What's
don't have
that?
keys to their house. They don't
No,
have
they
them.
don't.
It's a keypad.
Yeah, they don't have a keypad. They have a keypad. They don't have keys to the front door. Do you have garage doors? Nowadays some people can open the garage from their car. They don't need an opener. So do you have those?
I just opened mine from my phone because my boat guy's coming.
Right. Gate community, do you have clickers? Security alarm, do you have it? Is it connected? Who's your provider? What's their phone number? What's their website? What
But
that
let's
doesn't,
pause there for a second
yeah.
because the poor buyer doesn't know to ask these questions.
Mm-mm.
They get bombarded with all this crap. They go to closing and go, oh shit, how do I get into the community pool?
Right,
And
right.
then the agent doesn't know, can't find
And,
the seller, they moved away. It's just a pain in the ass. So to get
and,
those stellar reviews, you
right.
cover details like this.
And in some communities, gated communities, you have to, as a seller, turn in those key fobs to get your deposit back, and the new
That's right.
buyer has to go and get new key fobs. So
Correct.
you need to know that. Insurance, what's your annual cost of insurance? Do you have flood insurance? What's your annual cost? Termite, do you have a contract? What about dry woods? Do you have a subterranean contract? Is it transferable? Do you have a bond? All those
Huge
questions.
value in that if you have it. And some people have it and don't even know they have it.
Well, especially in an older house in some of these communities, I would say South Tampa and Temple Terrace or whatever, those houses, they're old houses, and you better have a termite bond with them because, they were built in 1926. There's probably more termites than anything if they haven't been taking care of it.
Mhm.
So, home warranties, do you have any? Do you have a home warranty? Is it transferable? What about your mailbox? Is it on your house or is it a common site? Are there keys? What's the box number? Okay, because in some of these big communities, it's the box number does not match the house number.
But think about this as a customer service tool.
Yes,
Oh my
yes,
goodness. If I
yes,
move away you got to try out 26 boxes to find out which key is mine.
right.
I don't even know my mailbox number, honestly. I just know where it is.
Yeah, and see. So whoever helps you sell your house, Craig, well, now get you this form. So pets, are there restrictions? What's the size? And nine times out of 10, they're not going to know that. You're probably going to have to get with the HOA to find that stuff out.
Do they allow ponies?
Right. Can I have a chicken?
No, I mean, I showed you a picture of Dixie.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was reading. I didn't see what you did. Um, so the pet restrictions, and then we come up with now this is a taught, this home improvements. What did you improve? Oh, I put a deck on. When? Did you get a permit? Okay.
Ah,
Craig, we tried to think of everything in here when we were doing this form, all right? But this is
well, let's go through
important.
it again because unfortunately, in my opinion, most houses are bought with an as-is contract,
Mm-hmm.
right? The seller does have an obligation to disclose, period. They don't have an obligation to repair, but they have an obligation to disclose,
Right,
right? The
right.
buyer has the obligation or the right to ask questions during inspection
Mm-hmm.
and then make a decision to go proceed or not proceed, but not to ask the seller to contribute.
Right,
So I put new railings on the front of my house. Did I get a permit? No. I can't lie,
right.
but I did put expensive railings on the front of my house.
Yeah, but it can even cover things like a hot water heater. When I was replacing my hot water heater, I got quotes, and one guy came in and goes, "Well, it'll be this price if I do it without a permit, and this price if I get a permit." All right, so if you made that decision to get it without a permit, we
Hmm.
need to know that because could be an insurance issue for a buyer.
Yeah.
All right. So the next thing, this is really important. What is included in the sale? What are you leaving?
This forces you to have that conversation at time of listing.
Right.
So you don't bring it up for the first time at time of sale when they've already bought the house and all the
Right.
things are in there.
Right. So, yeah, and this is the time where you're like, the next item, what's excluded? Well, grandma's chandelier in the dining room, we're keeping. Betty and Bob, you're taking that down now. Go to Home Depot, buy the crappiest one you want, and put it up there, but let's not make it an issue. All right. Get grandma's chandelier down and packed the way you want it. So in the move, it's not going to get hurt. Homeowners condo association. Oh my God. That's this is really important to know all this information here, the dues, the annual dues, is there an assessment? What's the mailing address, address? What amenities are included? Um, do you have keys? What's the code? What's all that stuff? And what's the neighborhood website that I'll have in case someone wants to go on and look at it? Now we're going to need copy of homeowners doc association, all those things. We have to refer to the condo checklist for all the
Right.
condo documents that are needed for that. Any special assessments, it's really important. And a lot of times, some of these homeowners don't know they have a special assessment. It's crazy what they know and don't know.
But now they
Um,
get 6 months worth of meeting minutes too, and that should be
yes.
discussing it.
Community Development District, the CDD. Do you have one? How much is it? Now, that's easy for us to find out, right? Because we can go on the tax record in the non-ad valorem and find that out. And you should probably be finding that out anyway before you even go in for the appointment.
Right.
Any rental restrictions? Again, this is stuff they may not know this answer. We're going to have to get these answers, but we're going to need this for the listing to fill it out. Are there rental restrictions uh, in there? And this, okay. And then you got going down the pool and the spa. What's the age of the pool? Or do we have a comment here? Yeah, yes, Lauren. Um, the age of the pool, the depth. I had that comment. I was like, I don't have no idea how deep the pool is. The spa, is it working? How old's the pool pump? Is it new? Has it been replaced? Is the pool heater? All those questions. Has the pool ever been resurfaced? Um, who's servicing your pool right now? And then age of the appliances. Oh, that's a fun one because sometimes they don't even know. All
Right.
right. So,
But what it's making them realize is, oh shit, my house is not new.
right,
Oh
right.
my God, my refrigerator was new 10 years ago, but it's now 10 years old.
Well, even if it's 5 years old, it's still not new.
Right.
Okay, so microwave or whatever, and then the HVAC, that's important for us to know.
My
And then
HEC were new 6 years ago. They're not new anymore.
no, no, and
But in my
then
mind, they're new because I remember paying the bill.
right, and then go down to the sprinkler and irrigation. Is it metered or is it
Does it
uh,
work? Do you have a well?
well, yes, or is it reclaimed water? All right. So, and well, do you have a well? Some older homes are hooked up to the city water, but they have a well for irrigation, especially when you go into like Temple Terrace and some parts of Brandon and stuff like that.
I've got
Um,
irrigation well. It's wonderful. My water bill's nothing.
yeah. Windows. Oh, Craig, this is good. What are they original? When do you replace them?
It's funny, Joe. I was talking to a buyer the other day
Mm-hmm.
who was looking at Hammock Bay, and there's a
Right.
house across the canal from Hammock Bay that he wanted to see. So I made arrangements for him to see it. And he said, "Yeah, well, I could buy that house for 1,600,000, and I'm going to be at least 1,800,000 to build in Hammock Bay." I said, "Yeah." I
Mm-hmm.
said, "Well, let's go look at that house." I said, "That house was built 24 years ago.
Yep.
Those windows are 24 years old. I can tell
Mm.
you from experience, it's going to cost you 50 to $100,000 to replace the windows.
Yeah.
That seawall is original, and that's
Hmm.
a large cul-de-sac lot. You're probably $150,000 in seawall.
What's it a foot now, Craig? It's ridiculous, isn't it?
$500 a foot was the last quote I got.
Yeah.
Um, what about this pool was elevated and there was black mold on the inside of the garage where the pool wall was. So there's some sort of water seeping through the concrete wall, which is a problem. Oh, that's another thing. I got a call from a neighbor of mine last night. We just sold his house and he moved up to the Panhandle and he bought a DR Horton home, a year old.
Hmm.
And he noticed that the garage floor was wet and he didn't understand why. And then it dried and then it rained yesterday and the garage floor was wet again.
Hmm.
And there are no leaks. And it turns out a bunch of his neighbors have the same problem. And when the builder hired the subcontractor to do the concrete work, it appears they didn't put the water vapor barrier in before they poured the concrete.
Hmm. So
So that's a major problem.
the water's coming up through the floor.
And now he's looking for somebody to blame. Could I blame the seller? The seller had to know because it's wet.
Right.
And when he looked at the house, there was a TV and a lounge chair, the recliner chair for the guy to watch TV in the garage. So do I sue the seller, the home inspector? Can I sue the home inspector because he didn't check it with a moisture meter?
Yeah, the
There-
garage
there-
floors. I mean, we live on sand and it's a slab. So I'm
It's
not
not
sure
supposed
how.
to suck
Yeah,
up water though.
no.
But anyway,
Caroline asked a question, can that form be added automatically when we created a listing loop? It's in your
yes,
loop already. It's at the bottom of the listing loop. If you scroll down, it's towards the
I'll show
bottom
you
of
when we
the
get to the
yeah,
bottom.
in the listing loop. Yep. Windows, roof, electrical, have they replaced their panel? What electric company are you using? Are you Tico or you Duke? Do you have gas? What's your average gas bill? Who's your gas provider? This is helping us so we can tell the buyer who to call when it's time to do.
Yeah. Because the gas is a pain in the ass. Like I have a
Yeah.
propane tank in my yard and
Hmm.
I use Amerigas.
Yes.
There's People's Gas and there's another
Hmm.
gas and there's another gas and there's another gas. There's 4 or 5 different gas trucks running around in here,
Right.
but I don't own my gas tank. I lease my gas tank.
Right.
So if I don't tell the buyer whose tank it is, People's Gas isn't going to fill Amerigas's tank. They're going to
No.
tell them they got to rip the tank out and put a new one in. So
Hmm.
it's just little things like this are the quality service we're talking about to make
Right.
the transaction simple and smooth.
Yep. And you got plumbing, internet cable, water softener. There again, is it leased? Is it owned?
Is
Trash.
there one?
Yes, trash. How's it picked up? Oh, here's the big one, solar panels. Do you own them? Are they leased? Are they financed? Who are they financed with? And then there's questions that aren't even on there, like can your loan be assumed by the buyer? Is it? We don't talk in this one. We could add it.
Pace.
Is it pace? Is it pace? So there are many questions there.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this. This is not a
Yep.
required form.
No.
This is not a seller's disclosure form. This is something that an agent can use to tell the story about the house. We talk about strategic pricing analysis, and it
Mm-hmm.
starts with the story of the home. This will give you the facts by which to tell the truth about the story.
Mm-hmm.
It's a recently renovated 15-year ago home. Because you're going to get this. Now, it says signed by the seller. I don't really care. It's not an
No. No.
obligatory form. But
Mm-mm.
does you guys just a couple of chats in there worth your time? Does it make you a better agent? Does it create a better experience for the seller and the buyer? And I'll say seller and buyer. It makes a better experience for the buyer, but if the buyer has a good experience, so does the seller
Yeah.
because you
And
avoid problems later on. And that's
and
what we want to do.
these are questions the listing agent's going to get from the buyer agent when they're looking at their homes, especially
Yes.
when you're talking about solar panels. And in the end, you're going to get the questions, do you know when trash pickup is? So these are all questions that you don't have to go back to the seller at the end because they're busy packing. Oh, by the way, when is your trash? And do you have Tico? And this just makes us look more professional. We're getting the story ahead of time so we can put our best foot forward, writing the loop, writing the personal remarks and stuff on the MLS.
No, I got to refresh.
Where did you go there?
No, I tried to go back and set up a loop, but I'm not in that loop right now. I kept it up last night.
Oh, okay.
If this one gives you no
Yeah.
access denied.
Okay.
All right. We're overtime anyway.
Yes.
Hey guys, thank
That
you for tuning in the week Friday before the Christmas holiday season. We are going to do training on Monday. I've got a little thing I got to do on Tuesday, so we'll do something different for the broker briefing. Then we're going to take off Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, day after Christmas, and we're all going to, take a, well, I don't know. Just talking to Jeff about that. We might just have one person be online and say if you guys have any questions, but we don't have to do it that way either. You just call anybody. We're going to be available for you
yeah,
if you need
we're
help.
always available by phone. Yep.
That's how it works. All right, Joe, good topics.
Very good.
I like
Everybody
it.
have an awesome weekend. Sell a house before Christmas. Makes for a nice New Year's.
Hey, look, we had 10 deals on the hot sheet yesterday.
Yeah.
Don't tell me people aren't buying houses. They certainly are.
They're out. They're going to be out after Christmas because when the wrapping paper is thrown away, they start looking for a house.
Yep. All right. Happy
All right,
Friday.
later. Bye.
Bye.